have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world when you hit that play button. So glad you did. This is Dr. Cause, in effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you with another episode of the Genesis Frequency, where we talk about, explore, and discuss personal, professional, and leadership development as it pertains to you as an individual, as a small business owner, as an element of the corporate team, at any level of the organization. It all matters. We can all get better every day, right? We can show up as a little bit better version of ourselves every single day. We're not competing with anybody else. We want to be better than what we were yesterday, right? So we spent the last couple episodes talking about how everything originates, how the cause of all is within us. The solutions are within us. How we use our mind, how we use thought, how we develop thought, how we access wisdom and inspiration and guidance. So I want to expand from that. I'm moving away right now. We use the book The Master Key by Charles Hannell over the last couple episodes, and I am traveling this week doing this from a portable studio. So if that sounds a little bit different, please allow for that. But what was really coming up for me as I was doing those last couple podcasts is really a reminder for myself, a reminder of just how powerful we are. We do. We have so much power, and I don't know if people realize that. And I think we give power our own definition, don't we? In a way. I did a little bit of looking up stuff, which I don't do a lot of for the show, but there's over 29 different definitions of power. So I'm not talking about power in the sense of political strength or control or command over people, that kind of power. I'm talking about that power, that innate capacity we have within us to be, to do, to have, to achieve, to accomplish, to move into the realization of our goals and objectives. It's pretty phenomenal, especially when you add in that our potential is infinite and that our capacity to think and to reason and wow, it really can be mind-boggling if you just push back a little bit and say, yeah, I do have the power. I do have the power. So I was thinking, what are really the elements of power? Let's look at a couple of the definitions that I looked at that are really pertaining to what I want to talk about today. First definition as a noun is the ability, this is from dictionary.com, the ability to do or act, capability of doing or accomplishing something. All right, so that's really the kind of power that I'm talking about. We all have that ability to do or act, capability of doing or accomplishing something. We can tap into that infinite potential. Another definition 7 on dictionary.com is delegated authority, authority granted to a person or persons in a particular capacity. So just by showing up in this human suit, now This isn't about religiosity, but you've been granted delegated authority by your source, by your creator, by a higher power, however you may look at that in your life. You've been given this just for showing up as a human being. So you do have the authority to tap into your innate power that is your very essence. Another one, definition 15. This is from physics. Work done or energy transferred per unit of time. Think about that. It's going to make more sense. This one will make more sense as we go a little bit deeper into this show this morning or this day, this evening, whenever you're listening to it. Work done or energy transferred. Where are we transferring that energy from? It's all relating to the last couple episodes I talked about. We're transferring that thought energy. We're transferring that idea energy. We're transferring that visual energy that we designed using the power of our imagination. Another one here would be definition 18, energy, force, or momentum. Now, when we're talking about force, we're not talking about forcing something, forcing that square peg into that round hole or vice versa. We're talking about force, that movement, always moving forward in a positive direction, that energy that we get from landing and defining and identifying the right objective for our lives. So, those desires, personally and professionally, that would satisfy any longing and discontent that we may be experiencing in our personal lives or our professional lives or in the for the corporate organization as an entity, right? So that's what this is talking about: energy, the force, the movement forward, and continuing that as it's defined here, momentum, getting on a roll. We talk about that all the time. So then, if we move to verbs, verb number 3 says to inspire, spur, sustain. So we're downloading. We're always downloading, whether we realize it or not. We're always downloading that inspiration. And if you stop right there, inspiration in spirit. We're being in spirit, in the spirit and energy of that which we're called to be, do, and have in this earthly plane of existence. So again, it's within power. Inspire, spur. What spurs you to action? What sustains that momentum? It's that desire that's driving us forward. All these are definitions and elements of power. So as I would look at it and how I want to speak about it today would be through the lens of 4 elements. Power comes from number 1 in my book, an awareness of choice. You have the choice. So many times I hear people say, I didn't have any choice. You always have a choice. Your power lies in your recognition and realization that there is a choice to be made, often in every moment of the day. And really in every nanosecond, that's happening at a subconscious level, but we can train our minds to be very efficient and very effective selecting the thoughts we decide to pursue, the thoughts we decide to develop, going back to the last few episodes, right? So we have this power of choice. We can reject a thought, we can develop the thought. And this is happening all the time, often in a nanosecond. We think 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day. Often they're the same thoughts we thought of the day before that, and the day before that. Often it's, if we're not training our mind to be selective, those thoughts are around worries and doubts and fears. We're not in the present moment, being fully alive, making conscious choices of how we want to move forward, how we want to gain momentum in the direction of that which we wish to achieve. So, first of all, you have to be aware that you do have a choice. You have a decision to make. Let your answer be yes or no. We're in, look at the wisdom of literature over the ages. Which way are you going to go? What are you going to do? Are you going to pursue this? Are you defining this? Have you identified what it is you want to experience personally and professionally in your development as a leader as well? So it's awareness that you have a choice. The next thing is making the decision. Making the decision. Yes, I'm going to decide this is it. I am going to develop this thought. I am going to go in this direction. I am going to select this as my primary objective. This is my primary goal, my big dream goal. This is what I want. This is what I want to experience. This is what I want my organization to experience. This is what I want to experience in my life personally and professionally, wherever it may be. You're aware of your choice, and then you get to the point that you make a decision. You decide on a thing. You make a firm decision. When it comes to goals and objectives, you don't really, if you've done the work properly, you don't really want to change that every single day or as you're going along. You've done the work, you decided, you've weighed, you weighed the pros and the cons, you've done your due diligence, you've decided which way you want to go. So you made that decision. What's next is intention and commitment. We'll talk about how important that comes in when we're talking about decision. But you decide on a thing. Now you'll change your plan perhaps along the way, identifying what works and what doesn't work and getting, course correcting along the way, but you don't change the objective if you've done the work properly, identifying it either by yourself or with your team or however we're applying this body of knowledge and wisdom to what you're working on, what you're going through in your life. So then what comes, we have awareness of choice, decision, and then intention. Yeah, this is it. I made the decision. This is it. And my intention is to move in this direction. This is my primary objective. So then it moves to the top of my priority list. Everything that is a priority on my to-do list is identified as a contributor to making this objective come to pass in my experience. So we're setting this intention. Yeah, I'm going to do this. So that goes back to some of those definitions I was talking about when we were talking about our ability to do, to act, to have that ability to delegate authority to to our tasks, to our to-do list, right? Okay, this one has authority over all the other ones. And so it goes, a work done or energy transferred. So that intention is really transferring that energy, that mental energy, that idea energy, that choice energy, that decision energy. We're transferring that energy into our intention. This is my intention. I intend to do this. I intend to get things done. See, this is such more powerful than just saying, oh, it's a goal I have. We did the identification process. We're intending to do this. That's where the energy, the force, the momentum comes in. I'm moving forward. Intention is really that force that says, this is it. This is the top of the list. I'm going to start identifying how I can break this thing down into bite-sized pieces. Add that into my monthly list, my weekly list, my daily list, my morning and afternoon list, my hour by hour list, and get these bite-sized pieces done that when they're a priority to be done, and they move to the top of my list where they should be, I get them done and I'm moving closer and closer to the dream, the objective, the desire, the goal. So I develop that momentum. Hey, I knock these out today. I knock these out the next day. I knock this out. I'm developing that momentum. What's happening is we're moving closer and closer and closer to the objective, and it's coming into focus. We're developing that clarity. And then finally, within all these, the awareness of choice, decision, intention, we have that commitment to it. There's the law of rhythm. The tide goes in, the tide goes out. There's highs and lows, and life is happening all around us. But we make the commitment. That goes back to what I said. We might change our plan, but we're not going to change the objective of the goal when it was identified properly in the beginning. So we're making that commitment. The commitment is so important. And these things are not necessarily in that order. We might have this idea that we've been kicking around for forever, but hey, I'm going to commit to that now. I'm going to commit, and you know what? That is my intention. I've made a decision now. So sometimes these are not necessarily in this order because there's a lot of stuff up there with most of us that's been, boy, it's been simmering, it's been stewing, it's been moving around in our consciousness for a long, long time. I see it all the time. I talk to people all the time. For a long time, I've always wanted to play the guitar. Now that I'm retired, or, we don't have to wait. The moment is now. Your power is in this very moment, your power to choose. Just be aware that you have a choice. If you are one of those now, right now, that is saying, I've wanted to do this all my life, realize that you have power. You have this power to make a choice and say, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. It's been haunting me. It's been gnawing at me. It's been tapping on my shoulder. And this can be coming at you in so many ways, personally and professionally. Hey, you've done well in your career. Maybe you've knocked out those personal goals. You've moved up the corporate ladder, but maybe you always had this vision. I really, really want to take this company, this organization to the next level. Maybe you've just had it. Everybody told you it was impossible. Maybe you're doing $50 million a year and you want to take it to that $100 million mark. Make whatever it is, make the choice, decide on a thing, set the intention, and commit to getting it done. Let's get it done. So, these, I think, along with the definitions I shared, all go under that title of power. You have to know that you possess this. This is not going to be given to you by someone else. You have to move into the realization of the power that you do have. And it lies in your awareness of choice, your ability to make a decision, the intention you set for your direction, and the commitment to staying the course, knowing there's going to be ups and downs and highs and lows and life happening along the way. But you're committed to stay on the path that you've identified that will move you from where you are now to where you want to be. So know that you are extremely powerful, because what you're doing through being aware of this is tapping into that field of infinite potentiality. Because really, you can be, do, and have it all as long as you believe in yourself and believe that you can. And with that too, you can borrow somebody else's belief in you. Somebody else might walk up to you and say, you know what? I tell people all the time, you might not believe you can do it, but I believe you can do it. And so in the beginning, if you want to, you can borrow my belief in you because I know you can get this thing done. I know it can get done because you have this infinite potential, this infinite power within you to make these choices, to decide on a thing, to set the intention and commit to it. You just have to be willing and you have to be able. So there you have it. That's my underlying definition and nature and character of power as it relates to personal, professional, and leadership development. So I think if we know that it comes from an awareness of this, that we can tap into this power. I look at it like this big, almost like this big invisible sphere, like this ball I'm just visualizing right now as I'm speaking. And we can reach into this power source at any time. We've been given that. We've been granted that as spiritual beings having a human experience. We can tap into this power. It's a faculty that we have where our capabilities are immeasurable. So listen to this one. Listen to this one over and over and over again. Make some notes. It's the repetition. I tell people all the time, it's the repetition, it's the application, and it's taking action on what you hear. How does this work? How can you apply this in your life? And how can you take action on some of these thoughts that I've shared, some of this instruction that I've given? How can you apply it in your life and take action on this? That's where part of I should have put that in there, application and action. That's another place where your power lies. It's just simply listening one time and moving on. Well, I listened to last week's episode. I'm done. That's just like taking a book and you read a book. Maybe if you're talking about self-help and personal and professional development, leadership development, you can read a lot of books on those. I call that shelf help. You pick it up, you read it, you put it down. There's no retention. There's no application. There's no action. There's no repetition. We're not driving the ideas and concepts into our subconscious mind. So there's a certain way to do things so it has an impact and it influences our lives in the right direction. Let's talk more about that. Reach out to me. Successappointment.com opens up my calendar in your time zone. Successappointment.com, we can talk about all these things for you as an individual, personally, professionally, in your small business, in your corporate environment, in your organization. I'm a franchisee of Leadership Management International. I can bring solutions to your organizations when it comes to performance, productivity, priority management, sales efficiency, communications, a whole gamut of improvement tools. We can find and identify the problems, the source of the problems, and I can bring in solutions through proper development, leadership development, and a new program coaching your leaders to become coaches, developing your leaders to become the mentors they should be, the coaches that they should be to the people that they've been given charge of. So let's have a conversation about all that. I'd love to help out. I'd love to come in and do a talk in your organization, in your environment, or just speak with you one-on-one about what's possible. Successappointment.com. The website is successocean.com, thegenesisfrequency.com, lmi-usa.com, on and on it goes. But I think the best way is to just have a good old-fashioned conversation by setting an appointment with me. That's going to do it. That's as much time as we have allotted for today's episode. So I want to thank you for being here. I want to thank you whether you're a first-time listener or returning listener, or if you've been here for a long time. Thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency. I thank you, and I wish for you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.